We're going to move on to another part of the world now, because travel around the Caribbean, and you'll quickly realise that as well as their real name, many people have a nickname. For example, when I went to Jamaica, I met characters called Butty and Shortfoot. But never really looked beyond these names. But now a new book lifts the lid on the roots of this tradition. It's called They Call Me, and it's written by Shirley Anstis. Shirley, thank you very much for bringing this book to us. I look at nicknames on the Caribbean island of Grenada. So tell us why you decided this was worth talking about.
Well, people are given nicknames across Grenada. It's a Caribbean thing, but it's also very much a Grenada thing. And I was sat in a room doing a counselling course talking about identity and how we present ourselves to the world. And I thought it is even more interesting if you're introduced to somebody and you said, my name is Crazy Man, or my name is Big Head, or my name is, you know, Soldier Boy, or whatever it is. And that is just really, how then do you say who you really are on the inside? Because that's just an external physicality, how you look, or it could be something you like, breadfruit, or food you like.
So somebody would be called Breadfruit. Oh, my name is Breadfruit.
Could be. So whatever, something you liked, or an incident you experienced, or something like that. So it's important then to unravel that and find out the person inside and what's it like to live with that name. So I wanted the experience from the inside, because there have been names or books on nicknames just talk about these are the nicknames, aren't they funny? And I thought, well, what's it like to be that person as well? So tell me how it is that you walk around with that name and people know you that way in the community.
And what kind of things did you discover, and what kind of impact did this have on some of the people who wore names like Flex? To me, when I heard the name Flex, I'm assuming it's a bodybuilder type guy who's just got big muscles and he likes flexing them all the time. But this isn't the case necessarily.
It's a very slim lady who's quite flexible and quite like bamboo flex, that sort of thing. So for some people, it's about accepting the name because they realize they can't get away from it. It's a small place, it's a small island, and you've got to accept it. For others, it's trying to reject it and show that you are different from it. So if the name is about being lazy because you were lazy as a teenager, as a grown-up, you'll try and say, look, I am responsible now. I am not this lazy person this name says that I am. So I will show you that I'm better than that. And for other people, it's growing into it and making it something bigger. So there's someone called Dr. Love, who the ladies gave him that name.
That's him. Sunny.
I'm not too sure.
So the ladies gave him that name. So he's quite proud of that name because it means he thinks that, you know, he's a lover and he's adorable and he's lovely and all of those things. So for some people, it's that sort of a thing that you grow into it. There's a man called Dig It, who it's about, you know, he loves gardening. So digging, he's been digging from a teenager. And it sort of, it merges with who he is. So for some people, it's something you can be proud of. It doesn't take away from who you are, it just adds to it. So
there's one I identify with here from my childhood, Boney. Because I was a very, very slim boy, and you've illustrated this with a picture of a bone. And this is because this person was small,
Yes, that's right, the small and thin. When they are not happy with their nicknames, I've decided not to put an illustration of what they look like, so that only those people will know who they are.
So tell us more about the variety of nicknames. I mean, because obviously in Grenada you've got the nicknames that we've just used, but of course when I went to Jamaica I heard of several people called Butty, and sometimes that's to do with the shape of the head, or Shortfoot because the foot is small, and things like that. I mean, is there any difference in where you go across the Caribbean?
There's a lot of similarity. So that's, again, is about what you look like. So there's a lot about that. Particularly the women get nicknames that are about visibility. So what you look like, short leg, as you were saying, big head, different body parts, if you like, which can be quite derogatory as well, or quite embarrassing. Some of the men ones seem to be about athleticism or prowess, or, you know, great on the football pitch, or great fishing, or great doing some sort of activity, sometimes in teams as well. So they seem to be more about characteristics, more about their personality. So I did notice some slight gender differences in Grenada. But
was there a class difference as well? I mean, would people from the upper middle classes or whatever not use this nickname thing, but people who were kind of more working class, they would have nicknames?
It does overlap that way, but I'd probably say it more as people who are out and about and being sociable would get the nicknames through interacting with other people, whereas people who were like in my family and like my dad who sat inside reading books, you really wouldn't get a nickname if you isolated yourself or set back a bit. So it's about being in relationships. So there's some people of middle class who would have nicknames as well because they were out in the barber shop or doing other things with local people, and might quite see it as an achievement that they also have a nickname because they're down with everyone else.
I'm just wondering how a nickname would actually start. I mean, who would actually start it? Would it be a member of the family? Would it be, I don't know, some local poet? I mean, how would it? Someone like Sonny. I mean, what nickname would we give to him?
Well, it depends.
Bookworm. You know, it's very bookish.
I was just going to ask if you know, somebody who's probably doesn't like to go out a lot, just when they call you Mr. Moody or something.
There could be, yeah, something like that, yes, yes.
You
Or,
see?
yes,
So
or
it
in
could
my
be
case,
something
with my
like
dad,
that.
he was a teacher, so that just became, you know, that
Teacher.
could be the nickname.
Teacher.
But, so it depends on your hobbies and what you're interested in as well. So if you were in, and so I've got someone called Rope, because he was a fisherman and he was handling the ropes every day.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what else you're doing. You could be, I've got someone called J-Man, who's a J-Man with a rasta, and, you know, sort of really cool and sort of seen as laid back in that sort of sense. So it just depends. Someone, because of the drink she liked a drink that was short and fat, and she got called chubby because this was the drink that she liked.
All right. It wasn't because of her own build.
No, apparently.
Right. Okay.
That's what she told me.
Okay. So you've sourced these names in Grenada, but you could quite easily have gone to Trinidad or Jamaica or
Absolutely, yes.
Barbados. But you also say that there is an African route to this.
There is the thing about being named. People moved from Africa to the Caribbean. People had names in Africa, and they then were enslaved in the Caribbean, and weren't, if the plantation owners couldn't pronounce the name, then they would give them a new name. So you have that sense of being renamed.
Okay.
Also, you probably be named after the plantation owner because you're now owned by them. So another way of being renamed. So there's different ways, and in Africa, I think you get names at different stages in life. If you've been through some different activities, from child to teenagehood to becoming part of the menfolk, to those different stages. Some of that carried on in the Caribbean as well, although that's less so now.
But it's carried on here in the UK too. I mean, I see people, I'm raised among a lot of Caribbean people in Manchester, and I live among a lot of Caribbean people now in Brixton in South London, and many have names. Street names sometimes gangster names. But,
Yes. Well, that's the changing thing of it, because I've got in here one person called Gangster B, and I've got someone called Bling, which is a newer set of nicknames, if you like. So the older people are called Spanish because of the Spanish ancestry. That's obvious from visibility. But the newer ones with Gangster B is the American influence from American movies and stuff. So they are changing over time, and it will be interesting to see if someone did this in 10 years' time, what sort of names would be around then. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to look at it, really.
Tremendous, Shirley. Well, it's called They Call Me, a look at nicknames on the Caribbean island of Grenada by Shirley Anstis.